What is up, guys? It's Kevin back in with a quick new video, just showing you guys what I've been doing and what I've been working on. Now today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to show you guys how to rattle can something and have it come out like it's like professionally done. Now, I've actually painted a whole car like this. It was a Honda Del Sol. Actually came out really good. I was talking to the person that I sold the car to about 8 months later, and he said it still looked really good, but you would have to wax it more than normal. Let me show you here. I actually did this on this fender here, and you can see how it came out. So, if you got things on your car, you got a dented fender, you want to change it, but you want to paint it, or, you know, a mirror or something like that. You don't want to send it to the paint shop, and you just want to get it matched up a little bit. Now, some colors are harder than other colors. Of course, black is kind of easy, but black and white and blue and stuff like that are kind of easy. But when you get into the odd colors, it's kind of harder to make it look the same. There's going to be definitely a difference in color, a difference in shine. But if you're just looking for a quick fix to make it look decent, not like crap, this is how you're going to do it. So what we're going to be working on today, this is an old amplifier that I had laying around. It's an old Lancer 800 watt. You can tell how old it is. Look how big this thing is for 800 watts. You can get 800 watt amps for about that size nowadays. But what I'm going to do is paint this center here, and this has a texture, so the first thing you're going to have to do is knock off that texture. See there? So what you're going to need to paint something like this is you're going to need, of course, some tape, whatever paint. Now, always use Rust-Oleum paint. Now, we're going to do red on this just because red is going to show you how well it's going to come out when it comes to shine. Rust-Oleum clear coat. You're going to need some wet sandpaper, some dry sandpaper. Sand and block is kind of optional. Polishing compound, you can get this for like $8. And of course, a drill with a buffing pad on the end of it. So I'm going to set this up, and I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to get this looking popping, looking great. All right. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is, like I said, knock off the texture that you have here. Now, you can do it with this sandpaper. This is 150 grit sandpaper, but I always found that a block is a lot easier. So, let's do that real quick. I'm probably going to speed this up. Well, I might not speed it up because it actually doesn't take that long to do it. Yeah, that's pretty smooth right there. Textures wasn't that deep. So after that, now I'm trying to do this as quick as possible to show you guys, but I am going to cut because you got to let the paint dry for a little bit. So before you go to each stage. That wasn't. Well, screw it. Alright, let's do this. It's not long enough, but still. This is just to give you an idea of what it should look like. Like I said, I've done this plenty of times when I get a car that needs a mirror, and the mirror comes, or go to a junkyard and get it, and it's the wrong damn color, and it's like, man, I don't want to take it to a paint shop. They're going to charge me like, you know, $100 to paint this mirror by itself, or like a fender. You know, you can get a Mako and get a whole freaking car painted for like $300-400. But if you take it in there and you want them to blend it to get it looking perfect with the rest of the paint, they're going to charge you probably $150 just to do one fender. So if you're not worried about perfection, this is a very easy way to do this. So we got the red paint. This is Regal Red. So I'm not going to do, you can do primer over it, let the primer dry. But with this bright color here, I don't think we'll need it. We'll do a couple coats of red. Now you want to make sure you get it even, and you want to do at first a very kind of light coat because you don't want it bubbling up or anything like that. So once I cut this or clip this video, it's probably going to be about 8-9 minutes long, something like that. But I'll pause it for the drawing stage. So just for time purposes, I'm going to put 2 coats on here. So what you want to do is once you get it sprayed and evenly colored out like this, what you want to do is you want to let this sit. I'd say the easiest thing, let it set for about 5 minutes and then go over another coat of the red. So I'm just going to go over it, since I did it lightly and it's not bubbling up, I'm just going to go over it one more time really quickly to get a thick layer on there. And then I'm going to let this dry for a little bit and I'll come back with it. So that should be good. Yeah, that should be good. So I'm going to cut the video and then let it dry for about 15-20 minutes and then I'll come back. Alright, so it's been about 20 minutes since I laid the paint down. It's dry to the touch, and you might say, well, Kevin, why don't you just leave it like that? It looks like it's shiny, it looks good. Well, it does kind of from far away. The problem is, if you leave it like this, just with the paint, this is glossy paint, which is going to give a little bit of shine when you first paint something, but over time, in like over 2 or 3 days, it's going to start looking really dull. You can see it looks shiny from a distance, but if I get it here close, you see it's not a mirror image. It's just, you can see there, it's glossy, but it's not like shining like you would see, you know, for your car or whatever. So what we're going to do now is this dry to the touch. Now, 2 things you can do. If you let this dry for 24 hours and there's any imperfections like bumps or ridges or anything in it, what you can do is get some of this wet sandpaper, which is 1500 grit wet dry, and you can put some water on it and sand it over, scuff it up, and get it perfectly smooth, and then put your clear coat. But for time restraint reasons, we're going to just go ahead and do this, and I'll show you, either way you do it, it's going to come out looking pretty damn good. So I got the Rust-Oleum clear coat here. So what we're going to do is, just like you did with the paint, we're going to go over it here. Now with the clear coat, what you want to do, you don't want to do this all in one shebang. What you want to do is you want to go over it one time, let it set for about 5 minutes, and then go over it again. You want to at least have 3 coats, 3 or 4 coats on this before you do anything else to it. So spray a coat on, let it dry for about 5-10 minutes, spray another coat on, let it dry for about 5 or 10 minutes, and do that. You can do up to 4 or 5 coats if you want to. I've always found that 3 to 4 coats is probably the best, because we are going to re-sand this down in the next stage. So I'm going to put 3 coats on this. I'm going to go ahead and cut the video, put 3 coats on this, and then we'll start back up with the last stage of what needs to be done to seal this up and to get it looking like a mirror image. Okay guys, we are back now. I put 3 coats of clear coat on it, and I actually set it outside and let it dry for about 2 hours, because this next process that you want to do, which is second to the last process, is let it dry and then sand it back down. I'm going to show you how to do that. But a lot of people will say, well, once you put the clear coat on it, why don't you just leave it like that? And you can see here that it looks really good, but you got a couple spots up here where it looks like it's kind of pitting. The issue with just putting clear coat on it is, after about 5 or 6 days, you're going to get something that's called orange peel. When you put clear coat on it and you just leave it and you don't buff it and you don't wax it, it'll start looking kind of whitish, like orange peel. That's what they call it, orange peel. So what we're going to do now is, we don't need this anymore. So we're going to pull off this right here. And the next thing you do is, and you see it's pulling it off right there, but we're not worried about that. It's all for educational purpose. So you want to get your 1500 grit, and what you want to do now, make sure it's wet and dry, is get a cup of water and you want to wet this. And what this is going to do, this is going to take out all the little slight imperfections. You don't want to push down on it super hard, but you do want to go in a circular motion like this right here. I want to go over it like that. Make sure it is wet. That's what we're doing. Now, I've done this numerous times, and like I said, if you do it, preparation is everything. As long as it's smooth when you start the paint, and as long as you lay the coats evenly, it's going to come out really good. Now, you do want to be careful if you're doing it on just wet sanding on a car, because on the edges and around holes and stuff like that, it's going to be a lot thinner paint than what you would think. So don't push down hard. You're not trying to take the paint off. You're just trying to make it straight. Make it super smooth. There we go. That should be enough. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Well, hold on. Got a couple little spots up here. And over here. Alright, so, God, it's super hot. So, once you do that, you know, a lot of people are going to say, oh, you're messing up the paint, you're doing this, you're doing that. But no. Once you do that, it's going to come out like this. You can see there's no real shine to it anymore. See that? That's what you want. You want it perfectly smooth. So after that is when your drill comes into play. Alright, so let me plug my drill up real quick. I'm going to show you. After you get that done, all you need is your compound, your drill, and your buffing pad. So you want to put a little bit, about that much. And you want to start just dabbing it over. And then you want to start buffing it. So I'm going to cut this out right now. I'm going to buff this out and show you how it came out. Buffing part is the absolute last thing you have to do. So I'll show you how it comes out. Okay guys, we are back and we're done with it. Now I want to put this out there. I'm not a professional painter. You know, some people do it different ways, and this is not the absolute correct way to do this, because there are different ways of doing everything, just like I do mechanics and stuff like that. But overall, if it comes out good and it lasts a long time and you can save a shitload of money, it's probably the best way that you want to do it if you want to save money, like I said. But I buffed it out 3 times. You can put a coat of wax on it to seal everything in. You might have to buff it a little bit more. The more you buff it, the more it's going to shine. But let me show you how it came out. This is how it came out. And like I said, I could have prepped it better. I could have, you know, waited longer. But you can see that mirror finish there. And it's pretty smooth for what it is. And literally, if you have a drill, you have the rubbing compound, which is $8. You got the buffing pad, you know, a little bit of sandpaper, some water, the paint, the clear coat, you're good to go. I mean, this is not ideal for a big area like a hood or something like that. But if you're just trying to paint a fender, I don't know, a fender, a mirror, whatever. I actually painted my steering wheel. If you remember, it came in turquoise blue, and that was ugly as shit, and I just painted it. So this is a good way to get around something. If you say, hey, my fender's dented, I'm going to go to a junkyard, get a fender, it's a different color, you can do this and get by for a little bit if you're wanting to paint the whole car later and make everything match perfectly. But yeah, I mean, that's that's the way I do it. This is the way you can do it. It's very easy. It's very simple. You don't need a lot of skill to get a professional looking paint job on smaller type stuff. So let me show you one more time. And take this off. See? Everything came out pretty good. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, and I will talk to you later. Leave comments in the comment section below. Hit a like, subscribe. Take it easy.